And then Dennis, just be yourself.
We could put a lot of people to sleep on church.
Yeah, the goal is to keep everybody awake and as attentive as possible.
Well, I could sing. That would get everybody out the door.
Well, we definitely don't want people to leave, per se, but yeah. Good morning, Mission Point Church. As you guys may have come to get used to, every month we like to try and highlight somebody's story in our church. So today, I am extremely honored and excited to have a true, I guess you could say, OG of our church body, and that is Dennis. Dennis, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
When I started coming for the longest time, I didn't know everybody, but you were somebody who was so easy to talk to. I think you might have introduced yourself to me, actually. But by the time that conversation happened, you were so welcoming, so easy to talk to. Definitely made me feel at home. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. I enjoy being with you too. I always look for you when I'm here to see where's Josh.
Definitely a highlight of my Sunday morning. All right, Dennis. So I wanted to welcome you here to talk a little bit about your testimony, how you came to know the Lord.
Okay, well, basically, I wasn't a Christian for probably most of my life. Martha and her husband and me and my first wife, we got to be very good friends. It looked like my wife was getting ready to kick me out. And at the same time, Rick, her husband, died of a massive heart attack. So in my grief, she pulled me out of the darkness and really helped me. She helped me get a condo. She helped me do all kinds of things. I mean, I didn't even know how to run that washer. It had more buttons on it than a room full of typewriters. I mean, I just never seen anything like that. And then after a while, she asked me to go to church with her. Well, I didn't go the first time or two, but then she said, if you come to church with me, I'll take you to breakfast. Now, I've been alone in this condo eating maybe peanut butter and jelly or soup, and I'm thinking, wow, a breakfast? I'm going for that. We get into the church, a beautiful little one-room church, and we sit down in the pew, and she's next to me, and I'm like scared. I feel like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rockers. I mean, I didn't know what to do. So I'm sitting next to her, and they're talking, and they say, well, we're going to bow our heads and pray. So I figure I better bow mine too. Just don't want to look stupid. At that moment, she grabbed my hand, and I felt something that was like a bolt of lightning went right through my body from my hand. Whatever it was, it moved me.
A chair just fell in the background. I'm not sure what that was. Dennis, I gotta say, one of the things I love most about your storytelling is your analogies. A room full of typewriters. That's the first time I ever heard that, but I will be stealing that, and I hope you're okay with that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Just send me a check.
At what point did you feel like your faith and this experience you were having at church, when did you feel like that truly became your own?
We finally found our way into this church after tried a couple others, and the people around here were so great. Some of them were just unbelievable. People that came right to me, like Dina and Shep and Tina, just like you said that I kind of talked to you. Oh, they did that for me too. Pretty soon I'm into small groups. I think we were in Liz Scott's house. Now, I know you probably never met Liz Scott, but anybody who's been here for a long time will tell you this woman was an amazing Christian woman.
So you said Liz Scott, and I think it's so cool to hear about how when people will faithfully lead groups, right?
Yeah.
You say dedicated in that for so long. You truly have impacts on people's life. And even just seeing you, somebody who is such a rock to this church, hear about somebody who affected your life. You never know how much you leading with consistency is going to affect, down the road.
Yeah. My ministry has been doing devotionals on Facebook every morning. And the whole idea was that as a new Christian, as somebody that's looking more or less into what's going on, the thing that got me the most was when I read that Christ said this is a command, the most important command. Love Father with all your heart and all your soul and everything, and love each other as you wish to be loved. And I thought, we're not doing that. I said, you know what? I'm going to preach love. I've been doing them since around 2019, in the middle of the year.
So let me just say this for anybody who may not be familiar with your page too. When Dennis says that you do something every morning, you write up a devotional every single morning, you mean it.
So I just say, you know what? Even if only one person hits a like, I'm going to be happy with that. I know that in my Christian movement, I had not really, I believe, got to where I should have been until one day I realized I had to go somewhere in a quiet space and I had to confess my sins, bare my soul to God, and ask for forgiveness. And I think the thing that really means a lot to me is when I read where Jesus is on the cross in pain, and he says, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Every time I think about it, I get choked up. How can you do that? Forgive them. If he could forgive them, even though I've been a lousy, rotten old, sinner, I feel like he has forgiven me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in this spot right now. I wouldn't be with great people like you. I wouldn't feel the love I feel when I come to this place. And I do feel it. I really do. So every morning between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning, up and at it. There were a lot of mornings when I felt like saying, you know what, the heck with it, and turn over to bed. But you never know. Josh might be reading it. Yeah.
Last question. If you were to give a word of advice for maybe a young believer or somebody who doesn't even consider themselves a believer yet, who's coming to church because somebody maybe promised them food, maybe they're coming because, a significant other asked them to, what would you give as advice to that person sitting in the audience right now?
I would say the best way to get to know them, and I know I've done this, I've read the Bible over and I'm reading it back through again, is read it, get to know it, get it on your heart, but just know that Christ died for you. For you, for me, for everybody, even though we're sinners. I mean, how can you not get excited over something like that? And I just want to tell everybody, don't worry about your past or whatever. If you come to the Lord and you have faith and you ask to be forgiven, it will happen. Because if he forgives me, there's nobody on this earth that doesn't have a shot at it if they want to. Don't think when you walk out this door on Sunday that that's the end of the whole thing. You try to keep God with you, Jesus with you, every day.
Dennis, thank you so much for sharing here. Thank you for being such an amazing conversationalist, incredibly kind.
I appreciate you too, buddy. I love you to pieces.